Hey good people, and welcome back to the channel. Friday is finally here, and today marks the end of my Love is Blind journey. In a few moments, I'll be posting my couple breakdown for Raven and SK from Season 3's Love is Blind. And just like with my previous videos, I'll just give my thoughts on the couple, as well as their wedding day decision, and their appearance at the reunion. So without any further delay, let's jump right in. When I first started watching this season of the show, I had mixed feelings about Raven. As far as looks go, I said on multiple occasions that her body is tight and right. And based on the conversation that she was having with Bartise, they seemed like a match made in heaven. But when Bartise and Raven parted ways, I questioned whether Raven would legitimately fall in love with another guy on the show. And this is where SK comes into the picture. SK is from Nigeria, he's one of 17 kids, he's big on family, and he works in tech. And right off the bat, SK's life experiences appear to be completely opposite of Raven. I think during this time, Raven was attracted to SK because he didn't make a big deal about wanting a woman that looked beautiful, and because he actually came to her with deep conversation versus a lot of surface level stuff. I think Raven appealed to SK in the pods because Raven was nothing like the other woman that SK used to date. Raven was a bit of a free spirit, who apparently liked to work out while guys are trying to get to know her. And I think in SK's mind, she would challenge him to get outside of his comfort zone. Now during the pod dates, Raven did reveal a few things that some guys would consider to be red flags. For one, Raven admitted that she does some bottle service and bartending gigs on the side, which is okay, depending on the context. But for somebody who looks the way that Raven does, one could argue that Raven was hesitant to tell guys this news because she might be scantily clad while serving these bottles. But if you combine this news with Raven having a lack of experience with dealing with traditional committed relationships, and that she still has things that her ex-boyfriend gave her in her last relationship, then a guy would eventually begin to ask if Raven was more trouble than she's worth. But SK and Raven eventually agreed to get married, and I think when they initially saw each other, Raven far exceeded SK's expectations, but SK failed to live up to Raven's expectations. And as we see them after their first night together, there appears to be zero level of romantic energy between the two of them. At least with Alexa and Brennan, they came off to the audience as at least being into one another. But SK and Raven looked like they had just arrived on a blind date for a game of miniature golf. And this was how they looked during most of their scenes during the earlier parts of the season. We later learned that SK questioned whether Raven was really into him, while Raven questioned whether SK would ever take the lead. I can say from a man's perspective, in these days, I hesitate to take the lead on certain things, because I don't want to come off as being labeled as controlling, pushy, or abusive. So I can see why SK may not want to be labeled that as well. But Raven and SK eventually get over the intimacy hump, but when they return home, there's quite a few issues that stand in the way of marital bliss. For one, as stated previously, SK is very big on family, while Raven's family would not support her throughout this process. 2, if things were to work between Raven and SK, they would either have to agree to do a long distance relationship, or one would have to move in with the other. And 3, Raven really wasn't feeling the need to capitulate to SK's cultural expectations, but she at least tried to make the attempt to understand things. And what I found interesting about Raven and SK's issues are that these type of barriers are usually present with a lot of people that are in the dating phase of things. But with Raven and SK learning about these things after being engaged, simply meant that their potential relationship was over before it began. So we get to the wedding, and SK is the one to pump the brakes on things. I appreciate SK for keeping it real with Raven and not blindsiding her with the news, because deep down, Raven knew that their union would not work long term, and unfortunately, she had to find out on the show like this. But at the reunion, we learned that Raven and SK have been dating, and they want to see where this new path takes them. And to that, I say more power to them. But this marks the end of the video. If you have any comments about this couple or my breakdown, feel free to leave them below in the comment section, and I'll be sure to reply to everybody. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.